Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you're looking at this. I'm Dr. Obrooks Walker. I'll be the instructor for our jazz class, which is Jazz and American Popular Music. This is the Fall 2 section, Music 144D1. And I wanted to make this introduction video just to give you a little bit of an idea of what we're going to be doing. Now, if you access Blackboard, you can open up the syllabus and look at it. I've also posted the first lesson, and I'm looking at the syllabus now. What you'll find there are a section of basic general rules, our course description, and some of the course objectives. And then you'll see on the next page that we're not using a textbook for this class. We'll be using videos and some PowerPoints that I prepared. The evaluation section is next, where basically it tells you how to grade. This course will be broken down into a group of tests, ranging anywhere from 4 to maybe 6 tests. And then there will be a section of written work, which will consist of a research paper, but also 2 artist essays that I'll ask you to do. Now, in these artist essays, I will not be grading as strict. They're almost pass-fail, so you can have a little more leniency in your writing. The research paper, though, will have more structure, and I actually give you the structure in the syllabus. There's a rubric, and there's a page laying out what to do. The assignments will be, well, of course, the test, and since we're doing this online, I'll give you a lesson, and as far as due dates, I'm just simply going to say that I'd like the work, each lesson due within a week of when it's posted. Now, having said that, I know sometimes people run into problems with internet connection or schedules, so I will accept your work anytime after it's posted. For your sake, I would suggest that you try to get it in quickly so that we can get everything posted. I'll be posting grades on Blackboard as I get the assignments and get them graded. The written work is a little different. You can turn in the essays at any time. You can even turn in the last day because they're easy to read and grade. The research paper, however, is a little different. Our last day, if I'm not mistaken, is officially December the 14th. So I would like the research papers due or turned in at least 7 days in advance, so around December 7th, if you could get the research papers done to me. It is a 5-page research paper, double-spaced with footnotes and internal citation. I'll lay all that out in the syllabus so you can see that. The other aspect, I don't know if I'll be doing any online lectures other than this introduction, simply because I do use videos extensively. I'll be using part of an entire series on the history of jazz, and then I have put together and compounded some videos on various artists. And as we move into things like country music and rock music, I've used samples there. And sometimes I will post the actual video on Blackboard, other times I'll post the URL. Now, along with some of the videos, particularly in the early section or the early lessons, I'll also post a transcript. It's not verbatim, but it's basically a general overview of what you will find on the lessons and on the PowerPoint. Now, I've given you in the syllabus some topics. At the end of the syllabus, there's a list of artists. I'd like for you to choose 2 from that list, and I know there may be some redundancy, but these are people that I think you may know some of them, but by and large, I've tried to choose artists that you may have never heard of so that you can be exposed and get to know them a little bit. The purpose of the essay is just that, for you to get to know new artists. The other thing is the research paper. Now, again, if you see me looking to my looking away here, I'm looking at the topics. One topic is jazz and its relationship to modern American pop music. That would be a research paper. The other is 3 cities and their jazz: New Orleans, Chicago, and New York. One would be from the Delta Blues to the British invasion. Now, these are the 3 topics. I'd like for you to choose from those 3 topics. However, there is another thing you can do. You can look at, say, for instance, the 3 cities of jazz. If you write about New Orleans, Chicago, and New York, that'll fill up 5 pages pretty quick, and you may not get to cover it in depth. So if you want, you can focus only on one city, for instance, New Orleans, and talk about the development of jazz in New Orleans, or Chicago, because each of those 3 cities has a different style of jazz that developed there. And at a different time. So if you want to do all 3 as a research project, or if you want to just choose one, that's the other thing. Likewise, in the topic from the Delta Blues to the British Invasion, both of those are rather lengthy topics. So if you want to do both in one paper, you can. But if you'd rather just focus, say, on the Delta Blues, you could do a research paper on the Delta Blues or a research paper on the British Invasion. In that way, I turn 3 topics essentially into 6. So that's you can choose from. After that, like I said, I lay out what kind of citation I'd like. And I'm not going to be extremely strict on what form you use. By and large, we use MLA or something like that. But I do give you some ideas on things like formatting, citations, the works cited. And remember, when you do notation or citation, you have a works cited page, but you also have internal citations. Do not be afraid to cite where the work comes from. Matter of fact, I prefer that you show me that you're doing research rather than just giving me your personal opinion. You can use footnotes, or you can use what I call parenthetical. If you're not familiar with that term, think of it as internal citations. And then if you look, you'll see how I grade. Now, I will grade on these things, such as page numbers, length, formatting. But the primary, or I should say the heaviest part of the grading will be on content. Look for clarity of sentences. I'd like an opening section and a closing section. That's always good in paper. I'd like for you to clearly present your research, and then I want you to interact with it, and of course you'll have a closing. So do that, and you'll put together a good paper. And like I said, I'd like that turned in no later than December 7th. That gives me time to read through them. And I think we've got around 30 or so students, so that means I've got to read about 30-some papers. But don't worry, I can do it because I pretty much do nothing else for myself. Anyway, that's what to look at in the syllabus. Now, about the class, I wanted to tell you this. Since I'm not going to meet with you in class, and I'm not really going to do much lecturing, before you panic and think, well, how can this be a class? It actually works for you in 2 ways. One, the tests are almost on an honor system, because I'm going to give you a test with each lesson, but I'm not going to monitor it. So, you have access to your notes. It's basically like an open book test. I would challenge you to try to take the test without looking first to see if you're picking up any knowledge. The second thing I want to share with you is this may seem unusual because you're used to going to classes, listen to professors, and whatever they say, you write it down in notes. But you may not be aware that this is pretty much a modern way of education. In the old days, back even before I was born, if you went to university and say in Europe, a lot of times you would simply have a student mentor who would give you the assignments, give you the text, and a lot of the learning was self-guided learning, which is very similar to what we're doing with this class. I am guiding you, but it's going to be up to you to take the journey. You're going to have to read, look at the PowerPoints, watch the videos, and do your research. But in the end, and there's a phone call coming. Try to avoid that. Pardon the interruption. I'm doing this on my phone because my iPad sort of messed up. But anyway, what I was saying is that a lot of this work will be up to you. You'll do it in a sort of self-guided way. I will be available through text, phone calls, emails, and even on Blackboard. You can contact me through Blackboard. So don't hesitate to contact if you have questions. I will try to respond as quickly as I can. This first 8 weeks class I taught, I was out of town for a couple of days, and I wasn't able to respond, and I was a place where I had no signal. And some students got really upset because, like, where's Dr. Walker? Well, I'm still here so far. But like I said, this is just a brief introduction to the course. When you read the syllabus, it's pretty self-explanatory. If you have questions, contact me. probably you might about the paper or the test, but the tests are pretty self-explanatory, and I think they're pretty easy because basically I present the information in PowerPoint, I give you a transcript, I show you the videos, and then I ask you to take a test. And I would rather you take that test, download it from Blackboard, fill it in, Word document works best, and then send it to me. I've had people send it as a PDF. I can do that, but I like to save a copy of all your work. PDF is a little trickier than just saving the Word document. So if you could, try to get everything in Word format. If you don't have that, there's a couple other formats. I've found some of the Google documents doesn't open up, and I've found sometimes that people put it in the cloud, but often if it comes out of the cloud, it comes to me in Word form. So I'll let you know if I can open the file, or if I can, I'll ask you to send it to me another way. Now, this course is about jazz and modern music. I'm going to focus on the jazz first, the history of jazz, understanding jazz artists, because it's something you will learn, and you're going to learn it right now because I'm going to tell you. Most of our modern music stems from jazz, and jazz is the truly American form of music, and from it we have all sorts of things. It's persistent in calling me. But anyway, we have all sorts of forms. We may not get all the way into today's 21st century music, but I'm not too worried about that because that is your realm of music. You already know it pretty well. So I think if we get there, fine. If we don't, it'll be okay too. But at any rate, we're starting the 19th next week, and I've already posted lesson 1. If you want to look at it, if you want to get a jump on it, it's there. Syllabus is there, and like I said, my phone number and email are here. You can contact me with any questions. It goes from the 19th to December the 14th, 8-week class. I think you'll enjoy it, and good luck. I will be communicating with you hopefully in the near future, but let's get started. Thank you for listening. Oh, by the way, I should have said this. This will be posted in the syllabus, in the announcement section of Blackboard. I also have a YouTube channel. It's L. Brooks Walker, and a lot of the videos that I use will be there, and some of the communication. But most of the stuff I will give you on Blackboard, and you will get either the URL to open up, or I'll actually post the whole thing. But like I said, I think that's covered what I wanted to tell you today. So good luck. We'll see you later.